Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 47-year-old from Cardiff, Wales. His hockey journey has taken him to Wales, England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Finland for sure, and some other places guaranteed. He has facilitated countless legendary bus trips for players, fans, and players' parents. He was average at best, or you could say lackluster dancer on the dance floor at a wedding he attended in Canada. He just finished rooting on the GB Shed guys in Finland and is responsible for helping the Cardiff Devils players feel like home in Cardiff for countless years, and even got Papa Walton Dundee drunk in 2015. Welcome to the Shed, Jonathan Williams.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, so this is a busy day, eh? Holy moly, the game just ended.
Seconds ago, I literally ran before the game finished to come and talk to you. I was just, aware of your pressure schedule today, so I sacrificed the last few minutes to come and speak to you, my friend.
Yes, well, thank you. Yeah, so it's a half day today, folks. So cheers, Jonathan. I took a half day off work. Colby's in the track and field meet. I got to be there in 1 hour, so we're gonna have to speed talk. Okay, he's got the 100-meter finals in 1 hour.
Go on, Colby.
Yeah, I think he's got her. But you just left the Great Britain Finland game, eh? Not no, Finland, USA. In Finland. Jeepers, I was watching it. Yeah, sorry, they play Finland next.
That's bad preparation, Wally.
So they did just lose 3-0, but the first period they had a chance to take a lead or get ahead because they had like 4 power plays.
4 power plays. Yeah, we just looked a little bit anxious, I thought. We just, whether we ignore them, the few times we let the puck leave the zone quite cheaply, it was frustrating, but we were shooting them for a while as well, so we're absolutely battering them on shots on goal.
Wow.
I think in the end, obviously, a lack of, I'd say depth, obviously, just went against us a little bit, really. We were trying to roll with, the same guys a little bit more than we probably would do with the full roster, really. But 3-0, respectable. But
so when did you get there? When did you get to Finland?
Last Thursday, so a week ago. I was one of the first to arrive.
And how many GB fans are around town?
There's probably maybe 300 or 400 around. There's a few people I've not seen before. Which is good. A lot of people didn't make the trip, unfortunately, because of the cost, which, it's not cheap to come here, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, it's a good crowd.
What I was going to say for the cost, right? When you're in your shed, you start talking around to everybody in hockey. Like there was the playoff final weekend, people would have had to choose whether or not to go there, and the prices had skyrocketed. Then GB's going to Finland. And then you think when I'm trying to sell some sweaters and t-shirts, it's like in the hockey world, there's a lot of shit trying to take your money.
Yeah, and that's where it comes down to. I think you have to prioritize. I think, the playoffs, obviously, this show is obviously a bit of a frustrating situation, should we say.
Stop playing with that with your hand. Stop playing with your tallywhacker. Yeah, put it away.
Yeah, I don't want to show people what it is before the people start rumors what I'm playing with. Yeah, so I think if people had to make decisions, based upon the cost and stuff as well. A good friend of mine, Darren Evans, came out to the World Championships with his boy Ryan. He would have loved to do both. He couldn't afford to do both. He chose to come here for the first time. And yeah,
that's a life experience, right? Like,
absolutely. His little boy's walking around with his eyes bulging out of his face every day. He's seen players play, just seen on his PlayStation and stuff back home. Do you know what I mean? He's just taking it all in and living his dream. So it's incredible. He's like a 12-year-old kid watching world-class athletes,
Wow. And so what I was getting at, though, it really does warm my heart when people buy the shirts and hats and whatever else is on sale on the website, aledhockeytales.com, because I know there's a lot of people reaching for your wallets. There's season tickets, there's playoff weekends, there's Team GB, then there's still your kids wanting to do sports and stuff, right? So there's lots of, I guess I'm very thankful when people buy stuff, right?
You do a good job, Wally. Everyone's buying into you. Everyone loves you.
Well, I don't know about that, but
you're becoming more famous now than just in Cardiff. Now everyone knows who you are now.
I would say I am not for everyone. That's for sure. Okay, so I get into how we know each other. We'll talk about Team GB in a bit. We would have met 2014 in the Big Blue Tent back when we used to go to the bar after a game, and you came up to me, introduced yourself, and said, "So, you think you're in shape enough?" You called me fat. You told me I was fat the first time you met me. You told me I was out of shape.
That was Sean Phillips who called you fat.
Sean,
I'm a bit more diplomatic.
And speaking of people that very thankful for, Sean Phillips has tipped me multiple times, 5-10 pounds. And when that happens, makes my knees shake. It makes my heart race.
And I didn't call you fat. He's feeling guilty. That's just like him buying his way out of his guilt. That's what he's trying to do.
Like I said, I'm not for everyone. And I know I wasn't for Sean when I got there. I know he said I was fat. I know he was writing on social media and stuff. Walton sucks. What were we doing there? Right?
Exactly. Anyway, I can't talk. I put about a stone on, I think, in this week in Finland. I've been eating and drinking all this crap. My body hates
You're on vacation. So what's going on in Finland? What are you eating and what are you drinking?
I was trying to find some Finnish food. I just thought, well, you go abroad, you go to Worlds, you have to eat local food. And unless I guess maybe the top end restaurants, are serving, I can't find anywhere. So I'm eating kebabs, I'm eating pizza, I'm eating Mexican food. I had a curry the other day. Oh my God, Wally.
Oh, curry.
That was brutal. I love curry. I like spice. I was in a world of pain after about 2 mouthfuls. And I think the last 3 or 4 days I've been paying for that indiscretion. So I'm just kind of trying to find bland, boring Finnish food for the next couple of days now, just to try and feel normal again.
If you wouldn't have had that curry, we would have had 5 more minutes to talk, right?
Well, yeah, we were slightly delayed, yeah.
I could never do the curries, but man, I know you probably ran home from the arena, and that could make.
I think I ran for you. That's why I'm a little bit red in the face, just to get back in time for you.
Well, I think it warms my heart that people make the time for me, because I have like a 1 hour pocket here, and you were just at a World Championship game with all your buddies, drinking, having fun, and for you to run back to your hotel to talk to me, it just gets me all warm and fuzzy.
Only for you, my friend. I wouldn't do it for anybody else.
Well, thank you. So anyways, after that though, my parents came over. I guess it was my first year. I guess they came both years. The second year they came with my leg locked, but the first year I was still playing, and they went to the triple header in Scotland. And then I didn't know how'd that all go down. You offered them a ride to Dundee, right?
Yeah, and obviously the first morning they rocked up at maybe 6 a.m. and I just trying to sort of feel them out, not knowing if they're kind of as crazy as you. And I thought, okay, these guys are a bit quiet, Ron is not exactly like Wally, so let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. So I sat he sat at the front. Your parents sat down the front. I would obviously be at the back, usually with the boys. And I said, look, I'll come and sit alongside you if you need me, give me a shout, and after maybe an hour or two, I just kind of went back to the boys, left them to it, and I thought, they're just quite quiet. And the first day or two, they just kind of kept a low profile. Mm-hmm. And then day 3, we went to Dundee. That's obviously, as you know, the Dundee Drunk phrase came about. Your old man was part of that. I suppose technically it's probably the shortest trip of the season for us, going from Glasgow, where we were at Edinburgh, to Dundee. And we just were on one. We just went on a mission to just get as pissed as we could in that hour and a half. And there was all this random
That was
stuff
only an hour and a half trip. The stories I've heard, I thought it was like a 6-hour bus trip.
No. That's how crazy it was. I think you've had this impression for years that it's like the whole time getting to Dundee. This was like a shortcut to Dundee. It's from Scotland to Dundee. So really? It was like this like green shit getting passed around. It tasted like grass. There was like all these random kind of cocktails and whiskeys and stuff. And everyone was just on one. And it was kind of funny because there's a good bus. Everyone that was on the bus was there for a good time. And your dad, you could see that was kind of edging towards maybe the middle, and he was getting more towards the back. I could see him, man wasn't overly sure to let him off his lead, kind of thing.
Couldn't help himself.
He was just like getting close. He was like, chatting with the ladies and stuff, and he was getting, a bit, involved. And then on the way back there, he just like, fuck it, I'm coming to the back of the bus with you guys. He said, literally, I don't care what she says. He kind of came down with some beers. We sat him down in the middle, and it just got weird. It just got really, really weird. I can't remember who there was. People getting tops off and all sorts going on, and so, you see that, and then your mum just came down too, and your dad was just loving it.
So my parents tell quite the story of their trip to Cardiff to see their son play. Like by the time you guys got to Dundee, I don't think he even knows if he saw me play or not. He doesn't know how well I played. I know that, but the stories they tell was they're back at the back of the bus, and all the guys with tons of tattoos are taking their tops off, and my mom's checking out all their tattoos. And then I believe my old man says this. I think it's hard to believe, but he says one of the gals at the back of the bus was trying to proposition him into the bathroom.
Right. Okay. Let's just take that one at a time. I think the tops off. That definitely wasn't me. I do not recall me doing that. You know, I'm sensible.
No, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. It wasn't
No.
you.
I can kind of guess one of the two it probably would have been. You know, the proposition and when he kept telling me that
Shifty's one of them.
Shifty was more than likely one of them. And your, stalker guy, I think, was on the best too. So
my
maybe
creepy stalker neighbor, Dad Perkins.
Yeah, I think maybe he's maybe the likely second one, but Shifty would
Basil
probably be right
beef.
in the middle. Yeah. But then the propositional thing, he kind of kept telling me that she did, but I didn't actually see it. But he did tell me several times that it was kind of on if you wanted it. But I don't think that was really what was
he's full of baloney. There's no.
I think it's just maybe like is kind of like mid to like later life kind of like ego kind of kicked in maybe, and he just thought,
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that's so when he came on the pod, right? Episode 99.
Yeah,
one of his bucket list things is to get back on a bus and go to Cardiff Devils game. And I guess they don't even have Red Army bus trips anymore because of the baloney, right?
Yeah, I think that's gone now, I think, unfortunately. And that's like past history. Unfortunately, now I think he's missed the chance of doing that in the future, unfortunately.
Are they not going to go back to living normal soon, or what?
Well, it is, but obviously it's tough. Like obviously, like things have happened and stuff that maybe it's not in my interest to want to do that anymore personally.
Right.
And it's a lot of work for people to do. I mean, obviously, because to be fair, when I first started it, maybe 10, 12 years ago, a good friend of mine, Luke, we did it together. Luke then got involved, with other things, and he was a bit busy, so he then had to go and leave, and I got Gerald involved, and he was there for a few years, and Paul, we met Paul. It's a lot of work, for a small amount of people outside of doing your normal day-to-day work and life. I just don't think there's going to be enough scope for them to do it.
You're right, though, and somebody needs to volunteer to put in those hours to organize it all, to collect the money, to make sure you got enough people to hire the bus. Like, it would be a lot of work. And I had that written down, everything you did. Like, you were organizing fun, kind of like what I'm doing with my golf tournament, June 25th, is I'm organizing fun. And it does take effort, and it does take up some time, right?
I think people don't realize how much it does take up, and that's understandable. If they're not seeing the amount of work goes in, then they're never going to know. But I think if anything as well, during lockdown and things happening, back in Cardiff and stuff at the time, it makes you realize that the time you were giving up outside of your just day-to-day life, and I didn't miss it, if I'm honest with you. I mean, I love doing the things, and I love helping people, and I love, putting a smile on people's faces, whether it be, your family, like your dad and your mum, and other families that came over, or fans themselves. But it can be a thankless task as well. It's a big, big grind, and it just takes one or two people to moan about little things. You're like, geez, if it was so bad, why aren't you doing it yourself? But yeah, I think COVID kind of came along, and it's going to be tough, I think, for them to.
Negativity is exhausting, isn't it? Half day,
exactly.
Half day, Ripley track and field.
One. I bet it costs less than a beer in Finland.
What?
I bet it costs less than a beer over here. That's probably like, a third of the price.
Yeah, well, I am a free agent in the beer world, folks. So if anybody wants to sponsor the shed, I'm a free agent. Feel free to reach out and give me free beer, and I'll drink them and support you, right?
Absolutely. You'd be fuming. The beer over here in the fan zone, a Coke size can of 330, €7 or €9, depending on what you're having. For a Coke size can of beer.
So you guys can't be drinking that much then?
We never drink.
No, not the GB
Never.
fans. No
hockey fans.
You guys aren't really fun to be around at all.
Exactly.
It's weird for me watching the World Championships because, like, I am a huge Great Britain fan. That's who I cheer for, and people from Canada could say what they want. When I'm watching hockey, I'm cheering for people, and Canada, I bet you half the guys they asked to go over there didn't even go.
No, their roster's a joke, and same with the US. To be fair, you're looking at the roster thinking, who are these guys? Like, there's one or two names you may be familiar with.
And every other country in the world takes this as serious as you can. You
Absolutely.
see, Pasternak is going straight there, right? And all these big name guys from the European countries treat it like it's the world championships.
Absolutely. Proud to wear the shirts. I mean, I get that some guys been in game sevens and the body's a bit tired. I get that. But guys who were not going to make the playoffs, they knew like 2 months ago. Come on, it's a chance to play for your nation. I thought this year being in a proper hockey country, like Finland is mental. Like it's the best place I've been to in terms of hockey fans loving the sport. Been to some great places, obviously watching GB and Devils and stuff. But this is the one country where hockey is everything. And I thought if you're going to come and play for your team, if you're Canadian or American, this is the country to come to. I was disappointed with the roster, if I'm honest.
No, and it's fair because that's why I grew up with that mentality of it's the world championships. It's just kind of whoever goes, and you hear people turning it down. But then again, I do obviously I've reached out to some of the Brits to come on from their hotel, but then I'm wondering I don't want to bug them. They're in the middle of a world championships, and
absolutely.
Then they say they're playing 7 games in 10 days. They said that today when I was watching it. That's wild after the seasons they've had. And then I heard when they got there, training camp, GB's doing 2-a-days after they just played a whole season. When my season was over, it was over.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't ideal. I think it got a bit shoehorned in really this year with seasons ending a bit later in the UK than normal because of COVID and stuff. So the British guys especially had no break really. But I guess it's a small sacrifice to pay to be playing on that level. I'm sure they would never.
Eventually, you end up in your shed just talking about hockey, and it's an opportunity to play for your country, right? So you may as well do that while you can.
And that's the great thing about the GB boys, that they're not like a club mentality. They're just, in terms of there's 2 or 3 guys that maybe don't fit in with the rest. Everyone clearly gets on with everybody. They're all proud to be there. And it's cheesy, but it's like a big brotherhood for them. You can just see they all love each other. Do you know what I mean?
They truly do, and I think that's why they've had the success they've had, and why they've been playing in the top division the last couple of years. You see it. Obviously you listen to me talk. That's what I think hockey is all about. Is the best teams, the best brotherhoods are the ones that win the championships. Not always the fastest skaters or the tallest guys. It's the best teams, and that British team. When they go to this tournament, they're going to play as hard. They're going to play harder than anybody else, I think.
100%. Look at that game on Sunday. It's a perfect example. 3-0 down to Norway, and we're thinking, here we go. Let's just get a goal, and they get a goal, and they get a second goal. And then, it's on. At 3-1, I'm saying to all the guys, come on, let's just get a chant going. We're going to win 4-3. Kind of a little bit of an ironic chant. I didn't really believe that, I must be honest, because we barely had a shot on goal in that period. It's 8 minutes to go, but they get the 1 goal. So we all start singing, and we get a second goal. We get a third goal. It was crazy. It was just it was amazing to watch it. The bench must have been just literally peeing their pants, because I was just screaming like a little girl. I was just so excited. And then he believed that they could do it. They almost did win the game in overtime as well.
Well, but it's wild how good the Brits are when there's so many imports in that league. And a lot of the Brits in that league are on Team GB, right?
Yeah.
And
that's the thing, though. You worry for the future, though, obviously, as well. If these British guys don't get ice time in the elite league, who's going to replace Matthew Myers and Johnner and stuff? There's a few guys maybe only with a couple of years left to go. And
there's not enough coming up, right?
No, but then
there's that one kid though, Nielsen, right? The coach's kid.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I must be honest. I didn't know about him. Obviously, know his dad as a coach and stuff. I know he's playing over in the States or Canada. And I did think at the time, maybe because his dad's a coach, he's been called up, and you did question it a little bit because it's his debut. He's never played before. But that kid's unbelievable. His skating's phenomenal.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely going to be one to watch for sure.
And he's good. I know he's good buddies with Legs and Eggs, Mac and Mosey too. So that's cool. Yeah. So obviously there's some character there. Sounds like a good guy. So I'd like to have him in my shed there, Cade, if you want to come on, feel free. Okay. We've gotten really sidetracked, eh? I did have Dan Perkins and Sean Phillips written down here, but
what you want to know?
I was going to get into how we know each other, and the 2015-16 season, when I do get injured, you're running the fan bus, right? So I'd become the pregame speaker, and I know the stories from my old man, how much fun he had on the bus trip, and my mom and the stories she was telling. And they had so much fun that day on the way to Dundee. They literally have talked about it for years. So we had a really big game in Sheffield, right? And we were top two in the table, you could say. Us and Sheffield, I think we were about tied around the top at this point. I was like 7-8-0 as a pregame speaker, and there's the big road game. I hadn't been on a road game since I got injured, right? And I reached out to you and I said, so how is there a way I could get to Sheffield, right?
I remember.
So I packed my duffel bag with my Thor helmet and the hammer. And
25 years.
We had, a sack full. And that was the first time hanging out with the fans that, like, now we talk about them and I know everybody, and it's because I went and did it, right? And so the way there, I was a little bit quiet, right? Kind of like Papa was on the way to Scotland.
Yeah, exactly. You eased your way in. Well, I knew you were going to be fine because literally we pulled out of Cardiff, and normally, like, you get a beer, and you get to Newport, you've had maybe a beer, you get like to wherever, like your second beer, you're like, John, put that in the bin for me, because like your leg was fucked, obviously you couldn't move. So you give me an empty can. We've been on the road maybe 5 minutes. We haven't been to the first pickup in the second part of Cardiff before you're like, John, another beer can, and you're like 2 beers deep within like 10 minutes on the bus.
Well, I get uncomfortable when I'm meeting new people. I didn't know what to do,
Yeah, but then to be fair, it was kind of funny though, because like people like Sean and stuff that kind of said maybe what they said, you were kind of having none of it at that point. You were like calling people out. You're like, right, okay, you said this about me. Yeah, he was like, no, I didn't. You're like, yes, you did, Sean. I remember everything. So that was.
And now you tip the shed. Isn't it a crazy world, Sean? Guy almost made me drop to the ground last weekend. I went to mow the grass, and then all of a sudden my phone dings and it says, Sean Phillips just sent you 10 pounds. And I was like, oh God.
Well, it's more because me, that tight little shit, to be fair. So you
little prick. Feeling guilty. Little prickle. Yeah. It's knocked me out from the UK. I don't like it. Anyways. Yeah. So no, I did start chirping people, but that's once I get to know them, right?
Yeah. So that's when it's a sign of affection. You can chirp people and call them names, then it's good. It shows you like them really deep down.
And then the Creepy Stalker Neighbours made me basil and beef sandwiches for the road trip, right? That was nice.
Yeah.
Sarah and Dan, thanks, guys.
I do miss them for the best, to be fair. They're good fun. Dan's like just a crazy guy, and he just can do any random thing at any random time. He's just one of those kind of guys you just have to be watching all the time, because otherwise you'll miss something funny. He's just literally can't have himself.
He's having fun, right? He's enjoying life. Every time I've been around him, he's been having fun.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We're best mates.
Okay, so other than that, I don't really have much, but I went to Sheffield. I guess I better finish the story, right? Is we take the bus up there, and I had some beers on the way. I was just trying to get mentally prepared for what I was going to do, right? Because the team obviously gets on the bus and all heads up to Sheffield. Obviously, Wally's staying back in Cardiff because he's injured and he doesn't play anymore, and he just does home game, pregame speeches. And then you're kind enough to let me come on the bus, and then I get to know all the fans, and they're great folks at the back of that bus. I had a fantastic time, but we get there a little early. Everybody goes to the pub across the road of the arena in Sheffield, and I'm in there in the bar mixing it up with everybody, Sheffield fans, Devils fans, right? And then warm up starts. I'm like, I gotta go, and then D sneaks me into the locker room, and because they got the motion sensor showers in the Sheffield arena, I had to be like Spider-Man going into the shower, but the boys are out for warm up. D sneaks me in, and I stood in the shower naked with the hammer, the blonde wig, and the helmet on. And then Lordo does a speech, and then, like there were guys coming into the bathroom to take a piss or whatever. And I was like standing there like Thor Spider-Man in the shower, trying not to let the sensors go off and not get caught, but it all worked out. It was a memorable night. So thanks for the trip. Water.
No, he's not getting that cold water on you, do you? Do you know what I mean? It does you no favors at all, does it? You know, when you're naked with cold water. So
It's actually when you actually stand around naked for like 30 minutes waiting to do a speech or jump out of a closet, it's actually cold in every room, every bathroom, every closet that you hide in. It's actually cold in all of them. It didn't do me any favors anytime.
I can imagine it didn't, but I've never done it before myself, so I can't comment on, that kind of experience, I'm a fine, upstanding
You're just a
member of.
facilitator of the fun.
Exactly. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors,
I just had my duffel bag of stuff, but yeah, no, I would do anything for the guys, right? And it was a long day, but it was a very fun day.
Yeah, apart from the result, pretty sure that Sheffield won that day, I think.
No, we won.
Yep. But what was the game you came to? You kept telling me
Challenge Cup final. I went all the way to Sheffield and I did my thing, and we lost in the Challenge Cup final in Sheffield against Nottingham. Yeah. Was it Mosey that scored that goal, that little punk?
Yeah.
By the way, watching him today, I've never really watched him play. And obviously I know he switches from D and forward. He was playing forward, and his positioning was incredible on the PK. He was playing so much hockey. He's going to play 7 games in 10 days and play that.
Yeah, much. I think today especially because I was speaking to his dad the other day. I know him really well as well, his dad and his mum and stuff. So I got speaking to them quite a bit on this holiday. And Graham was saying he was really, really pumped to play well because one of the coaches on the US bench was like a coach back in the day in America, and was a bit crappy to have. And I don't like to say too much, obviously, but he was really looking to put a show on today anyway. So I'm not surprised at all.
He played well, he was all like his positioning as a forward. Like, I don't know. I only knew what to do as a winger, right? Like I didn't know what exactly where D stand and using the dots and all that. And like the way he can switch back and forth, that guy is a valuable player to a hockey team.
Oh, he's great. I mean, that's probably the biggest screw up I think Cardiff made for years, letting him go.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure you could point to his age, you could point to injuries, you could point to anything, blah blah blah.
Or that he's an import.
Yeah.
But do you want me to get into that again?
I'll say like it is, whatever you ask me. I'm not going to exactly sort of sit on my hands. But yeah, I think he's more than proved his point this season. I think that did a wonderful season in Sheffield. He's a great player. He's still young. He's still young enough to keep him a couple more years in the game. And he's a fun guy. He's like what you were like, where he keeps everyone happy and loose. And you need a Wally or a Mosey in the room, just some idiot joker that just kind of keeps everyone happy and smiling.
Well, you need to have fun when you show up to the rink. Happy hockey players play better, and when you're having fun, Absolutely. You play better. And that's why it's hard to be Wally when you're on a last place team on a low budget team in Bietigheim, and you can't act like yourself because you're in last place. And then all of a sudden you kind of like get depressed and like you can't be yourself, can't act normal because you're a losing hockey team, and you don't show up to the rink. You don't show up to the rink and fuck around when you're in 10th place.
No one's gonna want to even talk to you, get out of my face, Whereas when
I'd rather do a cannonball into the cold tub and be in first place.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah. And that doesn't do you any favors either.
I can imagine. Yeah, I'm not sure which is worse. In a cold ice rink and naked, I'm not sure which is worse.
I can almost make it an innie. But just kidding. Anyways, okay. Moving on. So the atmosphere around Helsinki, would it be like it wouldn't rival Cardiff for the World Cup of Rugby?
No, it's a bit of a tough one in a way because I was kind of coming over here expecting Finland to be insane. I've been to quite a few Worlds, at Pool A level, even when GB weren't there. And the Finns have been hands down the best fans by a mile. They're so funny. They hire up bars for themselves. And I would say that the bars are good, but there's a lot of people just casually just drinking and just watching the game in the background. They're not actively watching the game. So maybe the crazy guys are actually in the arena watching the games live. Maybe being a bit unfair there. After the games, people are around, but it doesn't have the buzz I expected. They're not buying into, I think, as a nation as much as I thought they were going to be. Perhaps maybe if they get to like the knockout rounds and it's more, important games, maybe it'll be different. But even last night, Sweden, Finland, there was no real buzz around the city. I'd have thought I was
Really,
expecting
eh?
big things. Yeah, there's people out, but it just there wasn't that kind of like Christmas Eve excitement that you'd expect to get, Whereas like
So
Cardiff,
how does it work for the tickets? Like, do you get tickets to all the games, or do you pick a package just for the GB
um,
games?
you can choose, it depends. I mean, this is probably an exceptional year, unfortunately, because it was very expensive. So a lot of people didn't want to come because the Finns can sell tickets quite easily. They're making fans commit to buying, big bundles of tickets at the same time. So initially, they weren't selling single game tickets. I feel like the playoffs back home, they kind of got a bit greedy and they tried to sort of, force people to buy tickets en masse, which they didn't do. Like some of the crowds have been shocking. So now selling tickets like cheap inside the arena, half price on the low down, so no one knows outside that it's paid full price. But yeah, it's definitely a buzz when they're Finland are playing, but nothing exceptional. But then yet when Finland have finished their game, the town kind of empties a little bit, So it's a shame in a way because obviously a lot of the GB fans are kind of not in town. Their hotels are a little bit further out, so they're kind of missing out on being all together.
Yeah,
but it's a cool place. So everyone's really friendly, and
is this Helsinki?
No, I'm Tampere.
Oh,
Helsinki's hosting the other side, which is meant to be the Russian side. Okay. Of course, they've been a bit naughty recently, as we know. So
yeah,
they were invited to the party.
Which, by the way, I got to bring that up now that you just mentioned that. It was we got to our 55th country. If you count the UK as one country, which I don't. But anyways, 55 countries if the UK is one. And the most recent country to listen was the Ukraine. And we were ranked 7th in the Ukraine. And I just like to say, whoever's listening there, I hope it brightens your day and puts a smile on your face, right?
Exactly. No, and that's even like with the shirts, the tour shirts we've got for those fans. There's like the Ukraine logo on there as well. There's a lot of people, trying to do tiny little bits to kind of make a statement in their favor. And it's good to see. And yeah, it's obviously it's only sport at the end of the day, isn't it? And it's way bigger things. But it's just good to see that they got kick Russia out, and
Well, like for me, I'm just having fun in the shed. I'm just catching up with old buddies like yourself, and I'm having a blast. And it is really cool when I hear it's helping other people.
Absolutely. He's doing a good job, my friend.
Nah. Anyways, moving on. Can you skate without a penguin?
Yeah. I can skate just fine. I can't stick on
I
the
thought
shit.
It says you're from Cardiff. I just assumed you needed a penguin.
No, I skate really well, but when I was younger, I was.
That's what you say. You skate really well. I've never seen you skate.
I would not be busy having a beer after the game, or being your bloody counsellor when you had your bad leg. And every week, and they hear the same crap every week about how awful it's going to be not to play hockey anymore and stuff.
You shut your filthy mouth. I got a shed now. I'm happy.
Yeah, I probably was like the shed back in the day, when you didn't have anyone else to talk to about this.
That's right. Then I needed to talk and you had to listen. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
A lot of people had to listen to it.
That's why I couldn't skate. But who wants to skate in the BBT anyway?
What do you, people could die. You shut your filthy mouth.
Ice pad.
Don't you talk to me like that.
Just because it was small and you liked having a little small ice pad, it was shocking.
It was awesome. You didn't even have to move around at all. You just had to bump and grind and be able to work the corners. Yeah. Anyways, well, that's the type of rink I grew up on, so that's what I liked. Weren't you? You're a Red Wing fan, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Yeah. Stevie Y. Simple as that. As a kid growing up, I was always massively into the NHL. It was way before, obviously, YouTube existed and there was no TV channel showing in the UK. I just buy the hockey news all the time from like 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
11. Just idolized the guy. It sounds stupid now, but I like the logo. Like Stevie Y, I like the logo. And it was as simple as that. Then they got Federer off and I was like, yeah, this is my team. And then they were shit for a long time. So,
they were really good for a really long time.
Yeah, I know. But initially, it was just a one-man team with Stevie Y was like playing for them when I was initially the fan. They had a good 90s, admittedly, to be
Oh,
fair.
this is before the Russian 5, and then like they started running amok.
Yeah, I mean, that was around the same sort of time. I mean, I was before like guys like Shanahan and was there and Brett Hull and stuff, So you're talking like mid to late 80s when I was first a fan.
Okay, so that was my question, and why I was on the notes was we do have a time crunch here because Colby's going to run amok in the 100-meter final. Is growing up in Cardiff, how'd you get into hockey?
Weirdly, I was a hockey fan before the Devils existed. When I was a little kid, anyone in my age group will remember this. On a Saturday afternoon, you'd go and play football in the morning for your football team. You'd come home, and on Saturday, Grandstand would show games. They were typically a Friday night game that they filmed up in Scotland or Durham or somewhere, and they show on Grandstand at like 1, 2 in the afternoon. And it was like Durham Wasps, the Murrayfield Racers, and I was like, oh, this game looks amazing. Didn't give it a second thought. That's why I started buying hockey magazines to learn about the NHL. And out of the blue, that a team popped up in Cardiff. There's no advertising about this team. There's a little advert apparently in the local paper. One of my older neighbours I played football with, he went with his brother and his dad. The first game, his brother couldn't go, so I went along with him. It was like literally luck. And then saw a few games early on in that first season. And then second season, I got a season ticket and just kind of went all the time then as a little puppy.
Yeah, no, because it is once you get into it, right? Some people love it. Some people, whatever, right? It's like me. I'm not for everyone.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, what was important at the time was Cardiff had no team was doing well in sport. The football team was awful, which it typically is all the time anyway, unfortunately. The rugby team was awful at the time. The city was crying out for a winning team, and yeah, from the first game it sold out, and then you couldn't get tickets for love of money. It was like queuing around, the rink to get tickets on a Monday or Tuesday night, wherever it was. So they were quite at a premium. So I didn't see many games in my first season. And in the second season, I kind of lied to my dad that I was going with friends, and sometimes they wouldn't go, and I'd go on my own and try and sneak back on the bus at night and stuff, terrified I might get killed in the city centre. And then as I got a little bit bigger, some of my other friends kind of came with me as well, and it just became like a passion for life then, really,
Passion for life. Yeah. Like that's what you did on the weekends. Is that? Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
So Chippy Lane order. When you're going to the city center and you're running amok?
That was like a long time ago. I've been there for many, many years. If I was to be that way inclined.
Was Chippy Lane back when the arena was downtown where the fellas walking out of the rink right down? You would have been right. That all the players could have just been running amok on the ice and then go run amok on Chippy Lane right there, right after, eh?
Oh, yeah. So in those days, if I was there when the rink was literally across the way and I was having a few too many sherbets, it would be chips, curry sauce, and a sausage and batter. That's where it would be.
Repeat that again.
Chips, curry sauce, and a sausage and batter on the top.
So sausage with batter around it?
You must have seen that. That's like
that's like a pogo, but it's a sausage on the inside. Do you know what a pogo is? That's the corn dog, right? A hot dog with batter.
Kind of a corn dog, but it's not a hot dog. It's a normal sausage rather than a hot dog. It's the same kind of principle, but the batter is not as thick.
Are they chopping that up, or is that like a full?
No, it's just like a long sausage just chucked in batter, like you do in Scotland.
And they just drop that on top of the chips.
Yeah,
I don't eat that kind of
stuff these days.
You just straight salads and protein shakes. You change too, just like the game, or what?
No, I've been a good boy for the last couple of years, but this week I've been undoing all that and discovering all this greasy shit that I forgot was kind of nice, but now hates my body. My body hates. So yeah, I'm making up for lost time.
We could have started 5 minutes earlier. You're right. We're making up for lost time.
Absolutely. The price to pay for fun, eh?
Hey, it's.
Well, I was either do it then or halfway through say, by the way, Wally, I need to go to the loo. So I knew that was a safer bet.
The loo. That's the bathroom.
The bathroom or the toilet, whatever.
What else do I got? So yeah, you can skate without a penguin, you say, whether that's true or not. Okay. So for the next games coming up, they play Finland next. Be a tough one when they played so many games, but then they got Latvia and Austria. So how does it work? They got to win like one of those?
Yeah, at least. I mean, we need to beat Finland. That's Finland, as if need to beat Austria in reality. But then Austria annoyingly have gone and beaten the Czechs in overtime
I
and they
heard
got a point
that.
off the US. So that's points we wouldn't expect them to get. So I think we've got a tough task, to be fair.
But what about
Finland,
Latvia? Is Latvia doable? Latvia's doable.
Latvia is a good team. I mean, if I was to be optimistic, I'd say maybe take a point out of them. Get into overtime. But they're a good team. I've seen quite a few of the games as well, non-GB games live, and they're a good team. So I think you got to forget the Finland game, just save energy and try and focus on those last two.
So perhaps not play Mosey and Richie 40 minutes next.
Yeah, maybe just 39 minutes, maybe, and then just try and save an extra minute for the other. Yeah. This next game tomorrow, forget it. It's not going to bring any reward.
I mean, today's game was close, and they were right there. So I understand playing the shit out of those guys because it's a memorable thing to beat the Americans. But when you're looking at staying up in that pool tactically, you'd probably think Mosey shouldn't play 40 minutes tomorrow. I know you're going to want him to, because watching him play today, he was very noticeable positionally, skating, like everything. It was interesting for me because I saw him on the power play in this spot I used to be on, and he was playing that spot, and then he was also on the penalty kill. So, geez, way more valuable.
Yeah, he's a good player. Shame that he got, dumped last summer.
Lost in the shuffle, you could say. Yeah. Anyways, what else do I got then? So you've watched the other countries. Anybody impress you that you didn't think would, or anybody impress you that you just thought was really cool you saw them play?
Well, in terms of team, I'd say Austria. I wasn't expecting anything from Austria at all, if I'm honest. I thought they were going to be literally pointless until they played against us in the last game. By watching the game against the US, they were 2-0 up, then they came back to 2-2, and then they almost won the game. They hit the post in the last minute or two from memory.
Team? Who's good on that team? I haven't
seen. Do you know what? Literally, I would have normally most years been all over the rosters, and I'd have probably reel off names. But this year I've just been so busy and stuff. I've not barely even looked at the US and Canadian rosters.
When people wonder, like sometimes I post stuff about leagues and people I know and people that have been on, and I bet you there's a lot of shed guys going, geez, like he's never posted anything about what I'm doing. It's like, I didn't even know the World Championships had started. And then all of a sudden I started getting all these messages that they tied it up against Norway. And I'm like, I didn't even know they were playing.
Yeah, I just kind of sneaked up.
I'm a little bit busy, folks, and I don't have time. Okay.
Same
I'm doing the best I can.
I was literally like unaware of any of the rosters at all until I even got here. And even during the game, just so focused on your own team 9 times out of 10, you'd not even notice who's on the other teams, to be fair. I didn't even realize till today that the Hughes brothers playing, like Jack Hughes' brother.
How many freaking are there? Like,
exactly, another one knocked out now, another, first round pick looking like coming through. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard unless it's like superstar names, you test something. What's the point? A lot of those names don't mean anything to me at the minute, if I'm honest, in the US team or the Canadian team.
No, I
what
agree.
do I know?
Yeah. No, but I'd like to see Pasternak's a good player, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like, that's pretty cool that you get to see players like that play when they come over and play for their country. Right. Okay. Anyways, what else do I got then? The other trip we went on. So we got to get the story in there. We got 15 minutes. And this is going to be a little different than normal, folks. I am not going to send it immediately after because I will be watching the 100-meter finals. It will be whenever I get back and open up the computer again and send it, right? I won't be able to send this one. I won't have time. But the other time we got on the fan bus and you helped me set that up was the last weekend of the season and we had a chance to win the league, right? But we needed Sheffield to lose to someone and then we needed to win both of our games. And we went to Manchester, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you remember that one? And the
I remember the game. I was trying to remember which. I remember the game. I remember even on the bus and stuff with the Viking hat and everything.
But I never had the Viking hat on the bus. Do you remember how that worked?
No. That guy from Manchester, he stole it off him, didn't you?
He borrowed it. Steal it. He said
borrowed it.
No, but this is how cool that was I had a bag full of Viking stuff to be a Viking that night. The axe, the sword, and the shield. It was the night the glass broke. This story's been told. Deese covered me in dirt, but I have that bag of Viking stuff and I have nothing for my head, right? I have no Viking thing for my head. And the guy helping park the bus is wearing a
know him,
Viking
yeah.
hat. Like, what are the chances? And I ask him, I'm like, dude, I'm about to do a pregame speech dressed as a Viking, and you're wearing a Viking hat. Do you think I could borrow that? And he said, hockey family, man, just return it when you're done. And I did.
I think we all wore that hat that night. I like loads of like selfies and
Well,
stuff
we
floating
got
around.
off the bus too early, right? We
That's why though. Like,
prematurely entered Manchester.
exactly, it's like this Dundee drunk for a reason because you get messed up in Dundee, and Manchester you go to really early to do exactly the same thing.
And the Manchester Storm was nice enough to open up their bar. And then I had to hide from the players who were all there early and they're just kind of hanging out. And we were all in the bar drinking and I was wearing the Viking hat. And then that was the night I sat in the toilet for had to have been an hour.
Yeah.
Minimum. Naked, covered in dirt, with the axe, sword, and a shield. But at least I had a hat.
I think you'd learn by now, wouldn't you? You think after this like first few times you'd learn not to be sitting naked in a toilet for like an hour in the cold weather in an ice rink. You know, you obviously clearly love it, don't you?
Well, I just wanted to win, and I wanted to win one more championship and felt like I helped. And I guess that's how I thought I could help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's like ways to like, maintain, parts of you that don't need to get cold, should we say.
It was cold in that bathroom that day.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it was.
I
do remember that trip. That was a fun trip too, though. I do remember that trip.
That was a fun trip. And that was actually the other part of that story was when that all ended and we did win the game. And there was a game the next day, right? We had to play at home the next day. And I had always when we went to Sheffield that day, I'd gone home with the team. Well, this time they were going to have a huge game the next day. I've been drinking all day with the fans during the game, on the way to the game, after I'd been naked on the toilet. And then I go to talk to Franny after the game and he's like, why are you going to come with the team? They're going to be all serious and not having fun. Why don't you go with the fans? He's like, that's what I would do. And I was like, that's what I want to do. Is that weird?
Yeah. I've got a picture of you on my phone somewhere when you dressed up with like, I can't remember wearing, you got like a plastic gun or something and your face is literally just gone. I think that was coming back, I think, from Manchester. I think it's the same day.
It was a long day.
He was like
long day.
Glazed over, and he was just But then that's another fun trip though, because it's like the old BBT, obviously, and fans are familiar with it as well. And going to Manchester, it's always like the day when you go and get really messed up and have fun. It's like when everyone lets loose and
right. You're going to that dirty old barn, right? You gotta
get to it somehow, eh? Yeah, you gotta try and ease the pain.
Well, let's see. What else do I got? So did you ever play hockey?
No, not really. I mean, I was a footballer as a kid, and when the rink opened, I would have been 11 at the time. I played football at a good level.
Sorry.
Yeah, I took to it quite quickly, but no, my football was my passion. I played at a really good level, but the usual stop story. I broke my knee at 14, nearly 15. I did it at 17 again. So at that point, I thought, well, sorry, I'll just play hockey when my knee healed. I just kind of knocked about with mates and stuff, after the dads on a Friday night, after, a few drinks and stuff. But at that point, I was too old even to try and attempt to play it. But I was happy to skate. But I could stick handle on the streets, but no, I couldn't do the two together. I couldn't skate well on the ice and stick handle together. I could do one or the other, but not together. So I would never be a hockey player. It'd be embarrassing. The guys like Danny and Steph that play now, good luck to them, but I couldn't do it.
No, but the thing is, though, is like team needs people like you. You made it Cardiff feel like home when I came over. My parents still tell the story. And if it wasn't you reaching out, if it wasn't you organizing first that bus, if it wasn't you hosting all that fun, you guys had raffles on the bus, right? We'd go on the bus and you'd buy tickets for prizes and it was a full-blown party on wheels, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we tried to achieve. But the main thing was it was always done to try and two things: raise money for the club, because obviously before the ownership took over, when the team was really poor, it could raise a bit more, for the team to try and get better, but also for the guys, nothing worse than going up to Nottingham or Sheffield or wherever, knowing they're going to get wiped out. When you had there's like 50 guys or 100 guys there, cheering them on. But like with GB, it's almost the exact same thing. You know, we come over here, no, we're going to get beaten most times, but we come to support the team and just to lift them like 1% if we can. And that was kind of always the
And
plan.
if you guys aren't there, it's a whole different experience for those players. Fans matter.
100%. Yeah, and I like to think so. And I think it was always done with the intention of just trying to give a 1% chance of getting a result, you know, or to give guys a lift, you know, and that's why when we did things like, you know, welcoming players and their families and stuff, before like the club was wealthy, it might make guys think, yeah, do you know, I'll go back to Cardiff. They're looking after me, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not the best rate. It's not the biggest budget team. But that was like what we tried to achieve. And hopefully it did work with some players, you know, but I guess you never know. I mean, obviously it's more than that. Obviously, it brings guys back to a team. But if you could help in any way you could, that was always
I felt like it was a family. That party on wheels to Nottingham and Sheffield, getting to know all the people on that bus is realistically how a lot of reason how the shed starts is. It was a family on that bus, right? Like it's weird. It's weird to say, but like. I felt like by the time I got back, I really fit in and I was part of the crew.
Absolutely. And that's why I always said, because I've always been the same since day one. Whether you've been a fan for 30 years or one day, I don't give a shit. I'm not all this like hierarchy rubbish that you can't be like a fan, whatever, you know, you can't be in one of our gang. And I welcome everybody, you know, I don't care how long you've been a fan.
And there's people that show up on that bus. And I remember meeting like fathers and daughters like on the bus, and they were young kids on the bus. And they're like, we went once and we're part of this now and we'd love it. It's what we do on weekends.
And that's the thing, you have to just, you know, talk to people. You have to engage with people. You have to make sure they're okay the first couple of times they come until they get their feet wet. And, you know, and whilst it's a party, it's always a line. I would never let people cross the line, obviously, you know. I mean, I know that Dundee was a crazy trip we talk about, but that wasn't maybe representative of how it was week in, week out, you know. Let's just make, like, you know, this clear. It wasn't always like some kind of like booze fest, you know, but like a trip to, say, Sheffield or Nottingham, it'd be a respectable family day out.
Yeah.
And on the way back, a few beers were had. And I wouldn't let anybody cross the line. If people were swearing and stuff, I would nip in the bud. If people were just being a dick, I would have them. I would let them know that wasn't going to happen. And I think because that
but it's a lot to take on, right? It's a lot to take on.
Yeah, and that's another thing I don't miss it, because you don't switch off. You don't switch off. And it got to the point where hockey was like 24/7, 7 days a week for me in my house. And it just sucked the life out of me. It just sucked the life and the love of the game out of me. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, this season I didn't go to many games. It's the first time I've been to a game, which was last Saturday, and I loved it. And people I haven't seen for a couple of years, they said, it's just good to see you back, John. Good to see you back smiling. Good to see you love the game again.
Yeah.
I'd lost that love for the game. I just felt like being part of something again on a different level to the Red Army. You know, it's just the GB Supporters Club is the same thing, but it's once a year, not every week. It's just like everyone's together, everyone's in the same boat. Whether you've been a fan for one day or 30 years, it doesn't matter. It's all fun, and that's why I enjoy.
I agree. And it was the same for me with hockey. It sucked the fun out of it when I got hurt and I couldn't play. I didn't have a team of buddies anymore. And you get home and just go to work and you don't have your 20 closest friends with you anymore. And that's why you start a shed. And Colby's going to run amok in the 100-meter finals in 15 minutes. And I'll send this whenever the hell I can. Go GB, go Colby. This has been another episode of 2 Ales and Hockey Tales with Wild Thing and Wally.